Emotional pain is something we all experience in life. It may come from loss, betrayal, loneliness, or deep regrets. When we are hurt, we feel as if our hearts have been wounded. The pain can stay with us for years, shaping the way we see the world and ourselves. Some people try to ignore it, pretending it does not exist. Others may drown in it, unable to move forward. But what is the right way to deal with emotional wounds? In Buddhism, we see pain and suffering as two different things. Pain is a natural part of life. It comes and goes, just like waves in the ocean. But suffering is what happens when we hold on to pain, when we resist it or try to fight against it. Imagine holding a hot coal in your hand. The longer you hold it, the more it burns you. The first step to healing is to realize that we do not need to hold on to this coal. Most of us believe that time will heal all wounds. But time alone is not enough. If we do not look at our pain, understand it, and accept it, it may stay hidden within us, only to resurface later. Healing begins when we stop running from our emotions and allow ourselves to feel them without fear. Some emotions may feel too overwhelming to face. Anger, sadness, guilt, they can be powerful. But these emotions are not permanent. They rise and fall, just like everything else in life. If we can learn to observe them without becoming attached, we will start to see that they do not define us. You are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are simply the one who is experiencing them. So, what should we do when we feel emotional pain? Instead of escaping, we can take a moment to pause. Breathe. Notice how the pain feels in your body. Where is it? Is it heavy? Is it sharp? Simply noticing these sensations without judgment can already bring a sense of relief. Healing is not about erasing pain. It is about learning to sit with it, to understand it, and to allow it to move through you. When you stop resisting, the wound begins to soften. When we experience deep emotional pain, our first reaction is often to push it away. We distract ourselves with work, entertainment, or other people. We tell ourselves that we should be strong, that we should not feel this way. But no matter how much we try to avoid it, pain has a way of returning. It waits patiently in the background, showing up in unexpected moments. The truth is, healing begins not by escaping pain, but by facing it. Many people fear that if they allow themselves to feel their pain, it will consume them. But emotions, like waves, rise and fall. They do not last forever. When we run from pain, we give it power over us. But when we turn to face it, we begin to understand its true nature. It is not something to fear. It is simply a part of being human. Imagine you are sitting by a river. The water flows past you, carrying leaves and branches. Your emotions are like these leaves. If you reach out and grab them, you hold on to pain. But if you simply watch them float by, they pass naturally. This is how we can learn to observe our emotions without becoming trapped by them. A common mistake is to believe that pain is a problem that needs to be solved. But emotions are not problems. They are signals. They tell us something about our inner world. If we feel sadness, it may mean we have lost something meaningful. If we feel anger, it may mean something is unfair. Instead of pushing these feelings away, we can ask ourselves, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Facing pain does not mean dwelling in it. It means giving ourselves permission to feel, without judgment. When sadness comes, let it come. When anger arises, acknowledge it. But do not let them control your actions. Simply recognize them, like clouds passing in the sky. One powerful practice is to name your emotions. Say to yourself, "This is sadness," or "This is disappointment." By doing this, You create a space between yourself and your emotions. You are no longer drowning in them. You are observing them from a place of awareness. Healing does not happen all at once. It is a slow process, like the seasons changing. Emotional pain can feel like a heavy burden, something we carry with us every day. But pain is not just something to endure. It can also be a teacher. If we allow it, suffering can show us a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The key is not to fight against it, but to transform it. Many people believe that healing means completely erasing pain. But true healing is not about forgetting or making pain disappear. Instead, it is about changing our relationship with it. A wound on the body does not vanish overnight. It takes time to close, and even when it heals, it may leave a scar. Emotional wounds are the same. The goal is not to erase the past, but to integrate it into our lives in a way that makes us stronger. One way to transform pain is through perspective. When we are in the middle of suffering, it feels like it will never end. But if we look back on past struggles, we can see that we survived them. We adapted, we learned, and we grew. Every difficulty we have faced has shaped us into who we are today. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" Another way to transform pain is through action. When we are hurting, it is easy to turn inward and isolate ourselves. But sometimes, the best way to heal is to step outside of ourselves. Helping others who are struggling can remind us that we are not alone. It gives our pain a purpose. Many of the wisest and most compassionate people have suffered deeply. Their suffering gave them the ability to understand others and offer kindness. Pain also teaches us about resilience. We may not realize it, but every time we get through a difficult moment, we become stronger. Like a tree that bends in the wind but does not break, we learn to be flexible. We learn that no matter how painful a moment feels, it will pass. Transformation does not mean forcing yourself to be positive or pretending that everything is fine. It means allowing yourself to grow from your experiences in a natural way. It is a quiet, steady process, one that happens when we stop resisting and start embracing the lessons life brings us. Healing is not about returning to who we were before the pain. It is about becoming someone new, someone who has walked through suffering and emerged wiser. No matter where you are in your journey, know that emotional wounds do not define you. Pain is not a sign of weakness. It is simply a reminder that you have lived, that you have loved, that you have cared deeply about something or someone. The fact that you feel pain means that your heart is alive. Healing does not happen overnight. Some days will be easier than others. There may be moments when old wounds reopen, when emotions you thought were gone suddenly return. This is natural. Healing is not a straight path, but a winding road. Some days you may feel like you have made progress. Other days it may seem like you are back where you started. But even when it feels slow, every step forward matters. One of the most important things to remember is that you are not alone. No matter how isolated you may feel, there are people in this world who understand your pain. There are those who have walked similar paths, who have carried similar burdens, and just as they found their way forward, so will you. It is also okay if your wounds never completely disappear. Some scars remain, but they do not have to bring suffering. Over time, they can become reminders, not of pain, but of resilience. They can show you how far you have come, how much you have grown. Whatever you are going through, please be gentle with yourself. Healing is not about forcing yourself to move on quickly or pretending that everything is fine. It is about allowing yourself to feel, to process, and to slowly find peace in your own time. I truly appreciate that you have taken the time to be here, to listen, and to reflect. If this message has been meaningful to you, I am deeply grateful for your support, whether it is through a like, a comment, a subscription, or even a super thanks. It means a great deal to me, and I value the connection we share through these words. Wherever you are in your journey, may you find peace, and may your heart continue to heal in its own gentle way.